Hey, Part-Time Barbecue here. Smoking up a prime beef brisket today. Should be a great cook, beautiful day. The brisket we're cooking up today is from Costco. Today I'll be using butchersbbq prime beef injection on the brisket, and we'll be dry rubbing with Rod Gray's Eat Barbecue Most Powerful Stuff and Big Papa Smokers Cash Cow Beef Rub. We'll be smoking this in the Gatewaydrum smoker today over Kingsford briquettes, professional grade. We're going to be using some cherry wood in the smoke. The trim on the brisket today is going to be, we're going to be trimming off most of the fat on the top. We're going to leave the fat cap on the bottom, and we will be separating the point area from the flat. They're two different muscles. We want to cook them each individually to make sure they're each perfect when they come off the grill. So you see me trim briskets before, I'll just show you the after picture. So after separating the flat from the point and trimming it down, you have two muscles. I put them back together just to show you how they were originally. Flat, point, big knob of fat here, separated them along the seam. So here's what we have. Flattened out the point so it cooks a little more evenly. Shape the flat. As you can see, there's a gouge in this one. Hey, sometimes that's the way they just come out of the cryovac bag. Since this is for home, I'm going to cook it. If this is competition, this would be removed and smoothed over. All these rough edges are going to be areas where you lose moisture during your cook. You also see this mound of fat. This is fat cap that was trimmed off. I kept it to demonstrate a technique for protecting the brisket. So here's the bottom of our brisket. This will be the side facing the fire. If this was gouged at the packing house and meat was exposed, I could use these pieces of fat cap to cover it and give it a little more protection from the heat source. Now, every smoker is different. As I've stated, the Gatewaydrum smokes and heats from the bottom up. A lot of smokers cook from the top down, and if that's the case, you may be cooking your brisket fat side up with the meat side down. This technique would still work. Just finished dry rubbing the brisket. So this is what the briskets look like once they've been exposed to the rub and allowed to rest. These have been resting for roughly 45 minutes. Just put the brisket into the Gatewaydrum, and from the time I put the basket in and was bringing the drum up to temperature, I got sidetracked. So I came out, and the temperature on the pit was 450 degrees. Now that would be hot and fast. So I don't mind starting the brisket at a higher temp, like 400 degrees or so. It'll give it a nice pop and let it swell up. So we burped the pit. That means taking the lid off, letting the hot air out, closing the vents down, the intake vents down, and just letting the temperature come down naturally. The briskets, just put them in the smoker just 3 or 4 minutes ago. Had the vents just barely cracked open, as you can see. We're going to let the temperature fall from where it's at down to about 300. We'll check back later. You couldn't get a real good picture of the color of the briskets over in the smoker, so I brought the briskets out into the sunlight. This is 155 degrees internal temperature. Time to wrap the briskets. Nice mahogany red color. Why do I want to wrap at 155 degrees? Well, at 155 degrees, meat stops absorbing smoke flavor. And from then on, you're just bombarding the outside of the brisket with smoke and starts turning it dark and black. And that's great if that's what you want to do. If you like that hardcore Texas brisket, that's great. This is kind of a competition-esque type cook for flavor profile, so I'm going to try to practice that a little bit more. All right, we're going to take them in and wrap them up. There's our briskets getting ready to wrap. I'm going to try to do this one-handed and just show you how we wrap. If you've never done that at home, we are using aluminum foil because we're putting fluid in with the wrap. I'm going to save that fluid for later to make au jus to put back in our briskets once it's cooked and sliced and ready to serve. See if I can transfer the point. Shake up our wrapping fluid. I'm going to pour a little over the top just to rehydrate it. This is a Harry Sue trick for rehydrating your brisket. I don't know how well I'm going to be doing one-handed with this, but we're going to give it a go. So basically, I am making a tight little pouch, and I'm going to be putting more fluid in. I want this to be wrapped really tight. I don't want a lot of excess room. I don't want to steam the brisket. Basically, it's going to be braising in its own juices in this tight wrap. So at this point, I'm going to put about a cup of wrapping fluid inside the bag, seal it up. I'm going to do the same thing with the flat. Wrap it up, take them back out to the smoker, and finish off this cook. This is Bernie, the part-time barbecue tiki mascot. We've taken them to competitions before and put a fire log in them to light them up. Always a big attraction. So if Bernie could talk, he would let you know that at 4:15 the point was done. It was probe tender and it came off the smoker. The flat, however, is not probe tender, so it is still in the smoker until it is probe tender. Then it's coming off. Pulled the flat off at 5:30. Total cook time 5 hours 15 minutes. The point was a little quicker. That came out at 4 hours, what would it be, 4.5 hours, 4.75 hours, something like that. Anyway, it's probe tender. Now we're going to let it rest, and then we'll pull the au jus off and season that up, slice the brisket, and get ready for dinner. I've already drained off the au jus and separated that out, so now we're going to actually look at the brisket and get our first slice and taste. Remember at the beginning of the video, this was a slice that was cut into it at the packing plant, so we're just dealing with that. Just going to cut that off and do something with that later. So we're going to slice against the grain. The grain is running this direction, so we're going to slice right here. Juicy, fall apart. Take a taste. Give a taste to the camera person. Gotta admit, I'm pretty happy with that. A little mellower on the pepper flavor, but a nice balanced beefy brisket. So here's a plate, part-time barbecue. Smoked brisket sandwich, hot link, loaded potato salad, coleslaw. I have some onions, pickled beets, dill pickles, a little sauce on the side, just to keep the palate fresh. Got a Coke Zero to drink. And Bernie approves. Hey, thanks for watching. If you like Part-Time Barbecue videos, make sure you subscribe to the Part-Time Barbecue YouTube channel. Hit that notification button so you don't miss a thing. Leave us a comment, ask a question. We appreciate your support. Thank you very much.